Equations with parentheses. The objective of this video is to simplify and solve equations. Recall lesson 9, where we remember how to get a variable over on one side. So I'm going to choose to get this negative 7m over on the left side. So I'm going to do plus 7m. So I am left with 1 plus 2m equals 11. Then I can isolate the variable group. So I'm going to subtract 1. So 2m is equal to 10. Then I can isolate the variable. So I can divide by 2. So m is equal to 5. Now we must simplify each side by using distribution. So I will distribute negative 10 into 10x and 12x. So I am left with negative 100x minus 120 equals 58 minus 11x. Then you want to get variable over on one side. So I will get this 11x over on the left side. So I will do positive 11x. So this gives me negative 89x minus 120 stays, 58 stays. Then I can isolate my variable group by adding 120. So a negative 89x is equal to 178. Then I can isolate the variable by dividing by negative 89. So x is equal to 2. So one thing to keep in mind is we always have to simplify first, and we must distribute before we can try and combine like terms. So always look to distribute first by getting rid of the parentheses. So I will distribute the negative 6 into the 2x and the 2, giving me negative 18x minus 18. Positive 2x stays equals negative 19 minus 3x. Then I will combine like terms. So negative 18x and positive 2x will give me negative 16x. Everything else stays the same. Then I will get a variable over on one side. I'm going to choose to get the negative 3 over to the left. So I have to add or subtract. In this case, I will add because it's a minus 3x. So we want to do the opposite, a plus 3x. This is going to give me negative 13x. Negative 18 stays, negative 19 stays. This became 0. Then we can isolate the variable group by undoing subtraction. So I will add 18 on both sides. So negative 13x is going to equal negative 1. And then I will divide 13x. So in this example, I want to make sure I simplify first by distributing the 7 into the 8k and the 7 into the 1. So 7 times 8 is 56. We are talking about the letter K. 7 times 1 is positive 7. Then I want to distribute again that negative 1 into each part. So negative 1 times negative 3 is positive 3. We are talking about K. Negative 1 times negative 7 is positive 7. And then we keep down the equal sign. Once we distribute and make sure we don't have anything to combine, then we want to get variables on one side by adding or subtracting a variable group. So I am going to move this to the other side by doing opposite. So minus 3k on both sides. 56 minus 3 is 53. We keep the k. Everything else can stay the same. So plus 7, that gives me 0, and then positive 7. Then I want to get my number, my variable group by itself by moving this 7 to the right by doing opposite operation, so minus 7. 53k stays. Positive 7 minus 7 is 0, so we don't need to write it. And then 7 minus 7 is also 0. In this case, I need a number on this right side of the equal sign, so I will put the number 0. When I isolate my variable, I need to divide by 53. 0 divided by anything is just 0, so k must represent the number 0. Now you try, pause the video, try and do this problem, then press play to see if your answer is correct. Pause your video now. So first we want to distribute the negative 4 times 6. So that's negative 24. Negative 20 and negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. Keep the x. Bring down the equal sign. We also want to distribute here the 8 into the 5, so that is 40, and the 8 into the negative 8, so that is negative 64x. Bring down the positive 8. Then we want to combine like terms. 4 is just a number, and 8 is just a number, so 4 plus 8 is 48. Everything else stays the same. Then we want to get variables on one side. So I'm personally going to choose to move the 64 to the left by doing opposite. So plus 64x. So negative 24 stays the same. 64 plus 8 is 72. Keep the x. 48 stays. Then I want to get my variable group by itself, so I will add 24 on both sides. So 72x is equal to 48 plus 24, which is also 72. Now I want to isolate my variable by doing opposite operation. I'm just rewriting the problem here. So I will divide by 72. So x equals 1.